What's going on? Core Conversations for Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Day to the U.S. and everyone who acknowledges the amazing legacy that he's left. It's a fun day here. It's a snow day. And I'm going to take you on a little bit of a tour. What's going on, everybody? So this is our Core Conversations, and there is not a soul in here. People calling to cancel. Everyone's doing well. So this is what it looks like outside right now in Mississauga. Where's my camera? Yeah. So this is what it looks like when the world shuts down. All the schools, everything. I came in here before it got crazy. Bad. Now my car's buried. And yeah. It's my old studio. This is the, I talk about the micro biz all the time. This is the gym side. Of the clinic. And this is my space right here. This is all behind the scenes stuff. And we're back in. So how's everybody doing? What's the weather like where you are? Thanks to everyone who's joined me. I see you all here. New buddy, what's going on? Brian. Stephen Washington. Maverick Pilates Movement, good to see you. Brian, where are you located? And Maverick Pilates, where are you located? King Dre 41, what's going on? I probably have different people out today just because everyone's locked into their houses right now. Everyone's blocked into their driveways with the snow, I'm sure, in the Toronto area. Martin Phils might be joining me later. We'll have M Squared here. Yes, London. That's right. And dad goals as always. That's how we do. Saga's in the house. Brian, nice. Good, yeah, I'm in Mississauga, in case you don't know. Very cool. Lee, where Paula Affairs, how's it going? Today we're going to talk about productivity. And for those of you in the Pilates space, a lot of us are like warm, fuzzy people who like to just help people, like to be there to connect with people, help them feel good in their bodies and all that stuff. And then someone drops this line that you have to sell, and all of a sudden like your back goes up, you don't want to be that pushy salesperson, and your business struggles because you're not taking every opportunity to make that dollar to feed your family in the name of helping other people. So there's this fine line between being a salesperson and being a Pilates person, and a business owner and all those sort of things. So show of hands in the chat if that's you, where you struggle with the sales side of your business, because I want to go somewhere with this productivity talk today. While I'm waiting for you to just respond to that, what's your thoughts on that? I gotta just do a couple housekeeping things here, which I didn't do right out the gate. All right. There's Mr. Phils as well. Cool. All right, so Martin Phils is going to come on in a minute. I just want to just drop something else here, just as a thought. We have a snow day, clients cancel, there's your revenue gone for the day. What do you do with that? I remember when I was working in big box gyms as a manager and I had to sit down with my sub team and have the productivity conversation with them. Do you have a highly effective schedule, as they call it? Are you, have you reached out to your clients to reschedule? Have you made up those hours? What are you gonna do with the time? Are you gonna clean? Are you gonna do things? All those different things. And all those questions I used to have to ask people that I ask myself running my own business without the same level of accountability, because I'm not gonna get fired if I don't do it. How motivated are you to do those things on your off time? What does your day look like today on a productivity perspective? From a productivity perspective, when your kids are home, they're supposed to be online learning, you're supposed to be running around with them, entertaining them, or running your business, or you're supposed to go into the studio today and everyone called to cancel and you're debating, do you go in and just get some stuff done or stay home? What does the landscape look like for you where you are? So a lot of places are getting hit right now, otherwise, if that's not you, give us your words of wisdom. When you're fine, you have a regular day, what do you do when your whole day gets sabotaged like that? Hi, Cecile. Anyone else have to work in the big box gym and have to answer the productivity questions? How many machines did you clean? How many people did you talk to on the floor? All that stuff. Yeah, shovel. True. Oh, Cecile, sidebar. I'm using my phone to talk to someone this morning, and I asked my client if they showered today instead of shoveled because my Apple Watch put a W instead of a V. Yes. Awesome. I had to backpedal on that. It was my watch. Maverick Plies and Movement says, train, study, forward plan classes, reach out to dormant clients. Yes, the fun of autocorrect. Absolutely. So I did a workout this morning. I used I worked with that Tensa toner. See, all the way over there, laptop and the Tensa toner, just playing with that. Trying to just enjoy some content and figure that stuff out. Probably do another workout. Probably do a couple lives. I might jump on and just do another live workout here. Anyone free for a workout at 11? Let me know. I'll jump on live with you. We can have some fun with that. Mr. Phillips is saying, now that I have 2 years experience moving my clients online, right. How many of you are happy that you didn't just pull the plug on every online platform as soon as we had a chance to go back online and continue to cultivate that? The online presence is like building a small group class in the personal training world. You can continue to take your dollar per hour from your individual person, or you take 6 months to actually build a thriving small group and make more on the hour. And one takes a lot more work to get some consistency with it, and you should have to eat those one client, classes sometimes just to get it going. But eventually you get to a place where you have a system in place and people are used to its cadence and it rolls. So that sense of sticking with it on the virtual side definitely helps to get something that will stay viable and relevant. So I know for my clients today, many of them would be fine with just going to online today since we can't meet live. So we'll be doing a little bit of that. Christina, how's it going? How's it going with kids at home today? I just love the irony of being locked out of schools here in Ontario. First day they allowed to go back, we get a snowfall that closes the schools. That's how we roll here in Ontario. Don't ask me why. Mr. Phils, if you want to come on, give me a thumbs up and I'll bring you on. And Christina, I don't know if you could break away from the kids, but I'd love to hear how your online class is going so far. The Pilates link, how are you? Still need to reach out to you around classes. We talked about that, but then didn't follow up with it. And Amanda is here too. Hi, everybody. All right, Mr. Phils, let's get this going. Cecile, if you're not driving today, I'd love to have you on too. If you give me a thumbs up too at some point. Hey, the suspense, right? Hmm. Let's see here again. Yes. So Amanda, I got here at 5, before the snow got too bad. So I figured it was gonna be a snow day, so I like hustled in just so I can get some admin work done. I like quiet days, so this is my chance to just get a ton of work done while no one's gonna come in, no one's gonna be asking me questions. My kids are doing their own thing, all that stuff. So this is like my quiet time in the space, like to vision and all that stuff. So let's see if this is going on here, Martin. I'll get you on. Hey,
Hey, we made it. You know what was going
nice.
on? I had my laptop also on the live as well too, so it doesn't
Okay.
like it when there's two devices attached to the same account doing the same thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
I had to
There.
log off the laptop.
Nice.
Snow day,
Yo,
yay!
snow. Isn't it funny though? Like I was saying just before you came on, like it's a snow day, and like you think like, okay, let's go outside and just play or just get some stuff or go for a walk. My head went like it's almost like trauma. I went back to my days at like as an ADH and having to sit down and be like, okay, so what are you doing with your business today? Did you clean any treadmills yet? What's going on with this? Have you called your people to reschedule? Are you gonna make sure you're gonna still make that money this week? Like I went to all that like taskmaster business stuff that we used to have to do, which I'm not throwing the video with the bathwater because I mean those would be some good best practices for me today, but it was like cold, right? Like it was like so I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts on the whole
I
productivity thing when
I
it comes to services?
because I came through institutional stuff and I've always been on the consultancy basis. So my snow day thought, okay, like for the university when I was in charge of the Hart House programming there, okay, well, I'll have to, is the university closed? Because if the university's closed, right, then no one can come on campus and I had to phone all of the instructors that had to teach today or anybody else and, give them instructions for what to do. There was no online back then. I would
Yeah,
figure now, well, everybody's online because all the gyms are closed anyway. So
right.
that's that. But I don't know. Future gym days when there isn't any virus to deal with, maybe that's an option to keep things going. Close the facility, but open up the online so people can still because everybody has the capacity to do this now. At least
Right. Yeah.
everybody's on staff anyway. So that's number one. Uh, but if the university remained open, for example, or many of the hospital clients that I had they still would remain open. Okay, well then, who's on for today? How are we going to make sure that they can get there? Can they call me? I have to call them to see, are you able to make it or not? Will I be filling in? Which I've often, had to come and do, or will we
Right.
just cancel the class outright? That sort of
Hmm.
stuff. So that's where my head. So it's a different form of dread than you, but
Yes.
post COVID now, like I said in the comments, because I have now 2 years of this experience of going online, and I was meaning to for the years leading up, and I was meaning to, and I said, no. Well, I got forced on. Now you ain't
Yes.
going to force me off.
Right.
It's going to be a hybrid model from here on in. So,
Right. Right.
um, my two in-person clients today have switched to online because they
Hmm.
have that we are able to do that. So their calendar invite comes with a Zoom in case the weather's bad.
Yep. Yep.
So we'll work like that. And then all the classes that I'm teaching today are online anyway. So
Hmm.
so that will stay there. So I actually feel better about today. I can actually get some other work done now. I'm not going to be panicking on the phone.
Right.
So I can actually shovel my driveway, which I'm not looking forward to. It seems to be calming down in Toronto a bit. It isn't whiteout anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Mississauga's still pretty way out, like just snow sideways right now. So
Yeah, no, it's
yeah.
that stopped. I'm just looking out the window and it stopped. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where's everyone else at? Like, I just love to hear, like, for the people who are in the chat, what city are you in? Just type out in the chat so we can see where everyone's coming from. Yeah,
I see my cousin from London,
right.
England. She's there too, so she's coming. So hello,
Burlington,
Ingrid. So, but yeah, no, this is a good time if you are stuck at home,
hmm
and because in Ontario is sort of different. We have been stuck at home. We've been shut down. I hope a lot of
right.
people have been beginning
Used
to
to,
build their summer campaigns. What are you going to
yep.
do when you reopen? Are you going to be caught flat-footed? Are you just kind of playing it day by day, or what are your long-term sort of plans for
hmm
summer? I mean, I intend to expand offerings and so on, both in person and online, knowing that online in summer is not as great because people want to be away. On the other hand, last summer, online was helpful for me for people who wanted to go away to the cottage but didn't want to lose their workouts,
Right,
all that sort of thing. And that was fantastic. That really helped. And it sowed the seeds for a really, really good fall.
right. Exactly. That's true. I'm really waiting on some of these basketball programs too. That like everyone's up in the air because facilities too, right? So like last year, this time, 2 years ago, sorry, I would have had like, a prep school, so some private clubs and all the stuff that they had just started to go onto online. And then because, they were losing their funding, like they weren't going to get registration for the next season because obviously everyone is like, they don't have access to courts. So their teams didn't dissolve, but like they weren't taking any money, so they couldn't pay me. So then the teams were just doing their own thing. And like, so it's just interesting how yeah, we got to continue to make those pivots, plan for it to open up, but then like look for other strategies if there's no money there, right?
I would hope that all of our colleagues joining us today, those who are on today and those who will watch this later, I hope that most of you, that if you are online, you have now generated a way of making revenue while online, that you're just not offering free lives. I hope the day of that sort of thing is over. I mean, it's nice when you have a group of people, "Oh, let's get together spontaneously and have that," but no, really your online presence now in the new future, in the new world post COVID,
Yes,
should be also a revenue stream. So
yes,
um, yes, good morning. The two of
yes.
us
M
are Mark
squared.
squared,
Yes.
M squared. So
Well, actually, let's talk about that for a second.
mhm.
Christina it could probably talk to this too. Maybe I might even bring her on. How much do you charge? Do you charge more or less? We don't have to talk about specific numbers, but do you charge more or less for an online private compared to an in-person private?
Exactly the same.
Okay.
So
Why?
there's no barrier. There's no barrier to do one or the other, or there's no preference to do one or the other.
hmm
It makes me equally available.
hmm
Then for in person, it's a matter of scheduling in the day. So but that's it. No, I don't change. What I would say is that my rate per class is very, very cheap. I use it more as a loss leader. We were talking about this
Yes, I'd use his loss
last year,
leader as
and
well.
you
Yes.
use it as well too. But
hmm
I can, if you're getting three, four, five people in the class, it ain't a loss leader anymore. It's actually paying a very, very good rate,
Right.
right?
Right.
So,
Yes.
in some of my classes, easily Tuesdays and Thursdays that I run are easily six, seven
Good.
people. So at a loss leader price, that's a good pay for a
Right.
class. So yeah,
Absolutely.
but it keeps people engaged.
Mhm.
Um, and anyway, I've always been a believer with my price points that I don't want the price point to be a barrier. I'd rather
Yep.
take a client. I have clients that have been with me now for 20 years,
hmm hmm
right? And it's because it's never broken their bank to be with me. And
Right.
all of the new clients that have taken on in the last 2 years now have said, I'm so happy that I can stick with you because it's reasonable and I get, multi sessions a week from them and so on. So pricing is the tricky thing. And I think that,
Sure.
there needs to be courses on how to price. Okay.
I'm gonna bring Christina on here as
Oh,
well.
great.
Matters of Movement should be coming up too.
Yes.
And we have some
Hey.
Canadian content.
Hi.
There we go.
Yes.
Hey. Happy to
How's it
see
going?
you. I just, it's funny. I know Martin Phils. I know, he doesn't remember me very likely, but
No, when we talked about that, I do remember.
do
A
you?
former fitness class participant of mine, among other things.
No way.
Well, because I went to I went to U of T, and I was I basically lived in the athletic center.
Athletic center, right?
Because I did my undergrad in the phys ed program, so I was living and breathing in that building constantly.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Which
fun.
class of mine did you do, Christine? Did you do the Tuesday evening, or Thursday lunch, or Friday lunch? Do you remember?
Listen,
I'll just sit back while you have your reunion. Talk amongst yourselves.
Listen, I have 3 children. I don't remember those details. I don't remember that. I just know that, I was in your presence, in that building one way or another. So,
well, with the microphone on, I'll certainly be in everybody's presence there, because that sound system in the field house was massive. So I don't know, Martin, if you've ever been inside the athletic center, and subsequently there's a new Gold Ring Center as well, which is a different kettle of fish. But the top floor has a couple of gyms in it, a small gym and offices, and then the large field house, which is 4 tennis courts, a 200-meter track. Is it 200?
Oh, yeah?
It's a 200-meter, or is it a 100-meter track?
No,
like a circle walking track, or
it's
like
a 200-meter track.
Yeah.
Yes, oval. It's
Oval.
long enough to be oval. Lots of rowing machines. There's a whole set of loaded machines, free loaded machines, as well as Nautilus and the like there. And then our fitness, the fitness program at the time with KPE would be running in the tennis courts. Either one or the bigger classes would take the double court.
Yeah.
So you'd easily be doing movement with 25, 30. My Tuesday evening classes were getting like 60, 70. At the height of it, when aerobics was still crazy, 100, no problem.
Yeah.
Yep. Crazy.
I definitely did an aerobics class.
I know it. And it's actually funny, and Mr. Phil, as you mentioned, like all the different equipment there. I always talk about this, like gyms. We feel like we still have to like impress people with the number of treadmills and like the newest plate-loaded machines and the Cybex 2000. And then you get a really good trainer, and he's gonna have you in a corner with like a towel and a band and just crush you, right?
100%.
Right.
Exactly.
So, yeah. It's so funny. But let's talk prices for a second. Like that's what I wanted to kind of just like go through here. So like your online prices versus your live class prices, and then Christina, you also are doing like almost like a membership model, right? And getting people into what you're doing there. Can you talk about that model as well?
Yeah. So I have my little online studio, and so it's more of a full package kind of thing. So I have wellness speakers coming in every month to talk about things outside of movement. So whatever my people in the group are needing, I listen to them. For example, I have one woman who's taking care of her mom, so I had like an expert in like caring for the elderly come in and talk to her and try to encourage her. So I do like so it's a kind of a wellness thing. Now I went the route of providing accessible pricing. So I let people pick their price, and I give them 5 different options. And my diehards pay me the most, and the people, and I have a few people who come in and they'll pay the lowest rate, and like zero judgment, because I just want people to be able to move and have access to movement. When it comes to privates though, I have not decreased my price yet. So I have kept that price the same as in person. So
great.
Yeah, I work for a bulk model for price for privates too. So I'll tend to keep that price becomes accessible to them.
Yeah.
But I have them buy no less than. It's very rare that I will ever get a one-off. They'll be buying 4, or they'll be on a monthly payment or weekly payment plan for that. But it still keeps the price down, and it keeps it accessible in that respect too.
Exactly.
Right.
Its retention is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that retention is so people like that's really underrated. But just for the sake of anyone out there who wants to have like a premium brand and a high dollar offering, you know what I mean? Like I'm a Volkswagen guy, right? So like you like Volkswagen, but then there's people who want Audi and they know that it's a Volkswagen, but they still want like walnut and leather as opposed to, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for the person out there that wants a premium offering and wants to keep the price high and keep the value high and all those things, like what do you say to that person when we come to this whole accessibility conversation, but they're trying to get a certain crowd of people and a certain level of, pay? Like what do you say to that?
Can I start, Christy?
Oh yeah, go right ahead.
I would say that you should get your ins with institutional clients first. So what I charge an institutional client for a Pilates class, let's say, is way out there compared to what I charge. For my own. So that's number one. But number two, when that feeds into business, then you can discount the institutional price and still have it. And if people want to then, they like you and they want to stay with you outside of that, then you can begin to offer, when you see that their commitment is better, then you can offer them something cheaper.
Yes.
But yeah, no, my institutional prices are, compared to what I would normally charge my peeps, if you will. Oh, yeah. I don't know. A lot more. I won't give a percentage, but a lot more.
Right.
What do I say to those people? I feel like I think there's a place for all of us,
Yeah.
and I think that's okay if they want to do that. I feel like I need to be here, providing accessible, like online. That's where I feel like I personally need to be, and I feel happiest there, and so yeah, the power to them. Let them do what they want to do. I'll just like yell and scream and let everyone else know that I'm here for them.
But beyond that, both Christine and I are offering a premium product to begin with. What does the price point have to do? I know people who are charging, through the Yazoo, and I wouldn't go near them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But also, I know people who are charging less that should be charging more. When you see the people who are charging through the Yahoo, whatever you just said a second ago, and you're like, that is ridiculous. Why is this person getting $250 an hour and this person who was trained by Joseph Pilates is charging $80? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
because you know what? That person who's charging $250 an hour, if they're not that good anyway, we talked about retention earlier. Their retention is zero. They're doing nothing but hustling. Yep. Right? When you're charging, 50, 60, 70, $80 an hour, whatever, in that range, you're not hustling anymore. You're offering a good product. You don't have to hustle. It's a matter then, even word of mouth helps you grow your brand.
Yeah.
So you can price yourself out of the market.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I want to interject, I think also people are coming for you. They're coming for the person.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like not everyone who's with me or not everyone who's with Martin B would want to be with me, right? So I learned that when I was teaching at a studio, and the woman running the studio, she had this whole group of amazing women that were just like in love with her, and I had a really hard time like weaving my way into there and creating a space for myself. So I was like, I loved her and I left on amazing terms, and she's such a wonderful woman. But I left because I was like, I think I need to create my own thing, right?
Yeah.
And I did. And so I continue to, to learn and to try and learn from other people. But it's like people are there for you. And that's it.
Yeah. I want to read Amanda's comment here. She says, I've been trying to find a coach for myself for 6 months and cannot get someone under 10 grand for one-on-ones for 6 months. And that's a group coaching, not one-on-one.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to the coaching.
That's incredible. Space. Amanda, where are you in the world?
She's in Burlington. She's local.
So like a business coach?
Yeah.
Or a Pilates coach?
No, I think business coach. So she was a guest a few weeks back, and yeah, she was talking about like her businesses with chronic illness and wellness in general, since supporting that. So that's where you're getting into people who have lost their job due to illness and stuff. So you have to be super accessible because they might have lost their income due to their present situation. She's providing support for them. So then how do you grow that business to be sustainable for you and accessible to them?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of a blanket, like that's a general question, but specific to her business model, right?
Yeah.
So in her business model, I'm wondering whether, where, particularly where you're dealing with that sort of clientele, I'm wondering whether insurance can help the client in terms of that, because the work that she may do may be something that's insurable, but you really have to be savvy about what insurance will cover and what insurance doesn't cover. And it always links back to having good connections, and I have a couple of good connections myself, but having good connections with medical professionals, okay, who can help in terms of either referring clients, can help with the insurance aspect and the paperwork from the medical end, and specifying what's prescribed versus what's not prescribed, and working that way. And maybe even getting in league with a physiotherapist unless you're a physiotherapist already. If you're not a physiotherapist, then get in league with one and work with them. And if you have some sort of payment plan where the physiotherapist will pay you directly, then you can let the physiotherapist handle all of that insurance work, paperwork, etc. So I think that
there's workarounds.
Yes, there are lots of workarounds, and I think that there's a need for education for fitness professionals, in that to know what exactly to do and how to do it. And they, even in conferences, I've been to IDEA so many times, traveled to the States more than I want to care to count. And in a whole conference, there'd be one business planning lecture. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of exercise things, but one business planning lecture. There needs to be a lot more. And then the people who attend that, if you get 10 or 20 out of thousands of participants, that's another thing. So but yet people are struggling all the time about, how to run their businesses.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that running the way that you run it is, as personal as, what you're doing in your program design, right? Like all three of us here have similar business models, but then different business models at other points too. Like they intersect at certain points and they're very personalized to us at others. So in the same way that Amanda has here, I only charge 40 a session. That's not necessarily only 40 a session. That's 40, but then what are you getting? How long is the session? There's so many different nuances to that can make that 40 viable, right? So yeah.
And also whether Martin, you're a studio owner, right? So that gives you some leeway. In terms of Christine and I tend to work from home, so whatever studio equipment we have from home, we'll do it. I'm making some investments myself on that side, but that also changes the relationships that we'll have with clients. You meet them at your studio, and you can charge appropriately given the not only your expertise but the level of equipment that you have. In your space and the access that they have. So that also make a bit of a difference too.
Right. And also like the dynamics, like Christina's kids are a lot younger than mine. Like you don't have any kids in your running around your house right now.
I saw the eye roll.
Right. So like there's so many other factors you're going to tie into like how much time you can give to this and like how much time really can you pour into it? What is your time worth now? And all those things as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was doing a one-on-one session. I'm actually also doing an online, a group coaching program right now where I'm bringing people who know very little about Pilates and carrying them through this kind of beginner program where I tie in a lot of the Franklin method. So they get this really beautiful full package of like their body, and they hone in, into specific areas, and we just work through a bunch of stuff. So I'm really excited about that. I was doing a one-on-one and my son was like on my back, like for at least 10 minutes of it, like whispering in my ear. And I'm like, okay, please just go. I mean, we had gone over time at that point, so it's okay. But you make it work.
Yes.
Exactly.
Just
That Franklin method class for beginners sounds really, really good.
yeah.
That's a great course. Did
Oh,
you
I
put that
still
up on your
yeah.
Instagram to advertise that, Christina? Because I think I may have missed that. Did you put that up on your Instagram?
That I have Franklin. Oh, I did. I was yeah, that's all I advertised from like September or October onward.
Okay. Why was I missing all of it? Instagram is so flooded.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
true.
if
Right.
we can basically, if it's not in a story, I may not see it.
Yeah.
Right.
Very few people kind of float to the top in in the feed. That
Yeah.
if it's not in this, because that's all I have time for.
Yeah.
So I begin to miss these things too. And I
Yeah.
wonder that too. I don't mind putting advertising, at choice times on Instagram, but I wonder whether it's just all lost in the noise
Right.
sometimes with all of the stuff that's being churned out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh Prehab just jumped into the chat here. He's a physiotherapist here in the Mississauga area as well. It would have been cool to have him in the chat earlier. We were talking about pricing and new studios and all that stuff from a physio perspective. Like they're doing a lot of good work there. So shout out to Josh. Um, Changing gears, it's MLK Day, Martin Luther King Day.
Hmm.
Did you guys see that FBI MLK thing on Netflix yet?
No.
No, not yet. Tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Watch that.
Okay, can we talk again tomorrow?
Yes. Well, I don't know. I'm going to be trying to play catch up from today. I don't think I'm going to have a
Yeah.
moment of time for myself from 7 o'clock until 7 p.m.
Okay, so well, I'll just kind of break it down for you, and this is like an interesting conversation because it's all about the FBI and how they were following Martin Luther King Jr. and like all the wiretapping and the phone bug, the bugging and the phone tapping and all that stuff. And there's all these tapes, right? Because apparently he was involved in some affairs and like extramarital activity, and the FBI was trying to use all that stuff to take him down. They couldn't get him on anything else, so they figured let's just kill his credibility because they were trying to they're doing a wiretap to catch him on some kind of communism work and use that as their allegations, and that didn't work. And they stumbled across the fact that he was meeting someone at a hotel, and then they started to just chase after that illegally and all these things. So now these tapes are sealed, and it stands to mar his character and his legacy. But every time they put it out, no one picked it up. If you know what I mean? Like they tried to give it to pastors and they didn't use it to, and they tried to give it to these people and that didn't work. And they gave it to the news and they didn't pick it up either. So there's this interesting dialogue around the legacy that he's trying to leave, the mistakes that we make as human beings, and how people were really gracious to that, to the mistakes that he was making. His wife as well. Obviously, like people admit it, there was no cover up, but they weren't using that to destroy him. So it was a really interesting kind of dialogue that my wife and I were having afterwards, where it's like we're all human, we all make mistakes, and everyone said that, and no one was condoning what he did. But it's funny how, as much as the FBI was trying to use that to take him down, everyone they gave it to, it didn't get any traction. It didn't hit the media. People didn't use that to tear him down. So the FBI had to keep finding other stuff until they decided to just kill him. That's basically how the story ends.
Well, it just goes to show that, about the work that he was doing was so valuable, and
Hmm.
he was so respected amongst his peers and amongst people that this was a non-issue, right? Or maybe not a non-issue, but you can't take him down for that because he's doing so much amazing work.
So did the FBI actually admit to saying that they had to kill him in this documentary?
Would they ever?
Well, but that's what you said, so I'm wondering if they did, or if it's pretty apparent that they did.
Yeah. Yes, it really does point to that in many ways, right? Like, and it's the same thing with Malcolm X, with what was it, Huey Newton, or was it
Well, Sirhan just got resentenced. I believe he's the guy who went after Robert Kennedy.
mhm. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's so tied to that. So I mean, like, it's just crazy how all that stuff goes in. But like, it's just really, I just thought it was an interesting piece in terms of the legacy that we leave and the person,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's funny, his legacy is so important too that you notice that I mean, there are conspiracy theories, but it doesn't drive the narrative. The narrative that's driven is the message that he had and the change that needs to be done, that still needs to be done. That's the narrative that comes out of it. No one is too interested in any of the conspiracy theories or whether he had affairs or anything, because I mean, it's just, the message is just too important, I think.
Yeah.
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 Sorry,
Really
Christine, I cut
fascinating.
you off.
No, I love hearing you talk, Martin. So it's all good.
Me too, actually.
um, but
Thank
yeah,
you.
I mean, I think it's amazing. I think that that's such a wonderful thing that it didn't take him down. I mean, other than, you know, the final thing, right? But I mean, I think that's something. That's something really special that no one
Yeah.
was biting, you know.
Right. Yeah. And you know, because we watched in the movie Selma, when they're talking about the march over the bridge, they alluded to that too. Like, there's a scene where he's talking with his wife, and he, you know, Martin Luther King saying like, "It's not going to happen again," and like, "I'll be careful," and blah blah blah. Like, they made him a note to make sure that that was part of the movie, because that is also a part of his reality, right? And it just kind of makes me think about our Pilates world too, right? Like Joseph Pilates, like you could look at him as this infallible character, but then there's documented of him being a womanizer or being a heavy drinker, and these things that are also part of a person's reality, part of their path, and part of their struggle. And I'm not, once again, like, we're not saying go for it, but we're saying like that is, as much as we're trying to leave a legacy, there's a human who's trying to leave a legacy, and that human can make some, you know, choices that aren't always savory, right?
100%. I mean, what can you say to that? We're all human, and I think it's the people who put themselves forward as perfect are the ones then that have the hardest falls.
Right.
And I don't think that Martin Luther
It's a really
King
good point.
ever in his life ever put himself forward as being perfect. In fact, in many of his speeches, he talked about his own failings as a human being, striving to go beyond that, right? And also,
Right.
it's his message is very much a message of love too. I mean,
And
let's be
grace.
real about that, and it's very much a message of love, not hate. So, and
Right.
he's not putting himself there out as any sort of paragon of virtue, but he's saying that I'm the person delivering the message, right? There are
Right.
so many people, particularly south of the border, but all over the world, who will then put themselves out as some sort of false prophet or false messiah. Okay,
Right.
I'm perfect. And not only that, this whole sort of, because, you know, Martin Luther King was a religious man. So let's talk about this. This whole theology now of greed
Mm.
that is so pervasive south
Yep.
of the border. It drives, I'm sorry if there are any right-wing viewers out there, but it drives the right. It really does. This whole thing of greed, you know. Well, I work for the Lord, but it doesn't matter that I have all of this money and I'm not sharing it,
Mm.
right? And then you still put yourself, but then you see these people week after week, month after month. This guy was caught in a bathroom loitering, you know, public washroom loitering. This one has had an affair. This one showed his jewels to another young woman. This one, so, and the list goes on because they set themselves up to be these paragons
Right.
of virtue, and
Of
they're
virtue.
far from it.
Hmm.
They're far from,
Hmm.
and there's absolutely no love in their messaging to speak of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And circling back to Martin Luther King, we were saying about love, I think that his message around grace is huge too. And that grace was extended to him in those moments, because he spoke of that
Right.
grace that we needed, right? Like,
Right.
whether it's a message of nonviolence or a message of his own our own personal need for grace, when it was needed for him, he was able to cash that check
Hmm.
Yeah,
without knowing it, right? Because like, it's not like they, you know, like, they were just trying to do this so that there'd be this massive expose, and then later found out that there's no uptake on it. So they ended up sending tapes to him personally, to him and his wife, and threatening, saying, "We're going to put this out." And that's when he found out that he had been followed and taped and all that stuff. Like, he was oblivious to it before.
Yeah. I'm also wondering, I mean, this whole idea of celebrity and like people of notoriety, you know, that it brings people to you in a way that it doesn't necessarily in a normal, for me, like for the regular person, right?
Yes.
And so you have people coming at you constantly, and to be able to kind of uphold your behavior to a certain degree, I think becomes challenged, right? Like you're
Absolutely.
like, if you kind of have this carrot dangling in front of you like all the time, you know, do you reach out and grab the carrot? Like, it's just, or do you hold yourself back? That takes a lot of control, doesn't it? I don't know.
And I think Christina really makes a very, very good point there, because when we're dealing with celebrity, why are people drawn to you? Because you're celebrity? Or is it because of your message necessarily? Sometimes people are drawn to the celebrity and all of the trappings that are involved with that and have nothing to
Right.
do with that. So, Christina, yeah, absolutely. And then having these carrots dangled in front of you on a regular basis, right? Do you leap or do you not? Am I a role model?
Right.
You
Yes.
role modeling. Okay, so that's something. So you see a lot of sports, particularly in the Black community, you see
Yes.
basketball players and others, that idea of being a role model for the
Charles Barkley
community, and
famous for
some
that,
people
right?
actually run away from it, with
Yeah.
their hair on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember Charles Barkley was huge on that, right? Like I am not a role model. I'm an athlete, but you're expecting me to be this upstanding human being and to be the role model. And he's like, I don't want to be that. I don't want that. You put that on me.
But then, okay, if you're doing that sport and you're being public,
Yeah, the
right?
public eye. Yeah.
You're in the public eye. So, instead of saying, "Oh, I'm not a role model," and running behind a rock and trying to hide everything as if you have so much to hide, to say, "You know what? I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not a perfect human being, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And, as a public, I hope that you have the grace to forgive me of my faults, and I'm just going to try to do my best at my game and in my life.
Yes.
But if I fall down, there's no excuse for you to kick me either.
Right.
Right?
I want to read these comments here. The Ave Linda. It says, it's also important to view and study history from a holistic standpoint. A lot of time movies can be screwed or can only include parts of history and not the holistic story. Yeah, absolutely. And being human is not a god. Yes. And then lastly, the comment here from Amanda, the public needs more love, grace, and kindness towards all. Yes. They're a human being, not a god. There's a comment earlier about respecting the legacy of the person as opposed to worshiping the person.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the way that I read into that, right? So we do that, and it's just, we just talk sports and stuff like that. We talk music. The same thing happens with, whether it's, Michael Jackson or R. Kelly or all these people. Like, you do something that is so heinous that the person is completely canceled, and you do something else, and this is like, well, they're still, they did a lot for the industry. So like, there's a double standard that comes based on how deeply you are impacted by what they did wrong. In either way, any way you slice it, you're still worshiping the person as opposed to respecting their art form and their craft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a conundrum, isn't it? Because, on the other hand, being a celebrity or being wealthy or whatever metrics you're using doesn't give you carte blanche to be a bad human being either.
Right.
Exactly.
Right?
So you get to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Assholes make money. their asshole, their beep 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 behavior, makes them money. Sometimes people live off of that as a I think that every human being on this planet has a duty, and someone had said yes in the comments earlier about grace and love having to be things that are public goods, right?
Yes.
That are good in public as well as just in private too, but in public to everybody. I mean, the pandemic has borne this out.
Yes.
The way people are behaving and so on. Well, for those of you in the States, we're having a debate here in Canada about because we all have our Medicare systems and we pay premiums, or our employers in Ontario pay premiums, so we don't necessarily. But other provinces, it comes directly from people's pocket. It's an low annual fee, and you get everything, all the medical care that you can. But there's some talk, particularly coming from Quebec, that they want to charge people who haven't been vaccinated, who refuse to get vaccinated. They want to charge them $100 premium per year. I think that's what Legault was. That's right. The premier ministre of the Quebec was saying. And I'll tell you, at first glance, when I heard that, I kind of fist pumped and said, "Yeah, get those things. They're causing me so much problems," and so on. And then I had to think about it. You really have to think about it. And you realize that, it's even against the Constitution, right? We set up Medicare for access, and what's to prevent us from going down the slippery slope? Well, if you smoke, you have to pay extra. If you do this, let's say you're gay, okay, and you have a higher risk of HIV, for example, right? Then you have to pay extra. It just goes down this stupid, slippery slope. So, yeah, we can't be reactionary. We have to depend, I'm freezing there. We have to depend on grace. We can't be reactionary. We have to, that grace, love, consideration for all, where everybody's coming from. All of those things are just so very, very important. And unfortunately, it's all about rabble rousing, right? And reaction, like knee-jerk reactions and canceling and all of this, and it's not about coming together, understanding, and then growth. There's no growth from cancellation.
Right.
There isn't.
No.
Here's a comment here. We have to start living a more rational and responsive conversation. We have to start having more rational and responsive conversations, not triggering over emotional reactions. Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
I love how this conversation about how much you charge for online class turned into like an ethics dialogue.
Well, you brought up MLK.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah. True though. I mean, it's holistic. I'm working on my bio this morning, and I realize how holistic the work we do is. Like if I'm writing my bio and if I make it too Pilates heavy, then we're missing part of the conversation about what we do. If I make it too fitness heavy or too business heavy or too, you know what I mean? Like there's so much that we're doing for the whole spirit, soul, and body of everyone who comes through our doors that, yeah, it really is a broad conversation that we're having that starts with Pilates. Like that's just the language that we choose to start with. So someone else in the chat and they're a DJ, it may start with music, but whatever it is coming to how do we address it and support the whole person in front of us, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
So true.
It's becoming a family affair in the chat there. My uncle just signed on to.
Christine, where are your kids at? Like it's no ticking time bomb today. Like no one's like running to jump on your back or anything.
Well, my son's teacher, because I tried. Listen, my son's 4, and I had him in online learning for the last like 12, 8 days, and anyways, it was. I wanted him to be present because it's a French language school. So I wanted him to be listening to the French. I wanted him to be practicing. He couldn't really maneuver on the computer all that well because he's 4. And anyway, so his teacher's not there today to do online learning. So I don't know what he's doing. It's quiet. I'm going to accept the silence for now and then deal with the disaster after.
Yes.
Christina, do you speak French?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So, today, speak to him in French, only in French.
Who?
Pas,
Yeah.
Pas d'anglais.
You're right.
Pas d'anglais. Seulement français.
Yeah. You know what? He's actually speaking to me in French, which is awesome. So he's learning quickly. It's awesome. Happy. Anyways. Yeah. Thanks for asking about the kids.
Yes, no worries. Well, thanks for jumping on here. We're at 56, which is perfect because I'm probably going to go and do a workout at 11 online.
You're going to work out? I'm going to shovel.
Well, I came into the studio. I got here at 5:30 before the roads got too bad, and now I'm the only person here, right? Like everyone's canceled, right? So I mean, in terms of like the staff and the owner and stuff. So I'm just holding down the fort in case people have to call in and cancel for the clinic and stuff like that. And so I think I'm just gonna do some work online. Just do a workout or something. Blake. Let's play. Anyone want to play with me at 11:15?
Yeah,
I'll be
I
shoveling.
will. I
I'll
I
be
was
doing.
gonna
There you
suggest
go.
that I wanted to like work out. Oh look who's here.
There we go. I'm going to do
It's like he
Pilates for
knew.
snow shovelers.
Yeah, flash blues. Oh yeah, public service announcement. Use your legs, not just your back, or any Pilates instructor out there is going to be working on your back for the rest of the week. So
Yeah.
let's keep our
100%.
gains moving forward. Bend your knees, save your back, as the Jamaicans used to say. So
Push instead of throw.
yes,
And
there you go.
powerhouse always engaged.
Right. There you go. That's your public service announcement. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. It's fun. We'll be back at it this week. All right.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna log off. Take care. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.